Down wall, down wall, down wall, down wall, down wall, down wall. Pour the water, got the cheese! Hi kids, and welcome to Disney Animation Reviews. I'm Josiah. Let's just cut to the chase. Today we're talking about Disney's 34th animated feature film, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. First off, a quick review. Last feature was Pocahontas, which got mixed reviews because it was based off of reality rather than fantasy, but it still did well at the box office and won Oscars for its music. Hunchback was released in the summer of 1996, a year after Pocahontas. Before Hunchback, in 1996, Disney had the live-action, their second Muppets feature film, Muppet Treasure Island, starring Tim Curry as Lon John Silver. And, earlier in 96, Disney had their live-action and stop-motion animated film, James and the Giant Peach. After Hunchback in 96, Disney came out with live-action films The Mighty Ducks 3, which in turn inspired the animated Mighty Ducks TV series, where the Mighty Ducks hockey team were actual animated ducks. And then they also, in late 96, had the live-action remake of 101 Dalmatians, starring Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil. Hunchback of Notre Dame is our main topic, though, and let me tell you, I'm just going to say right off the bat, it's not my favorite animated Disney feature film in the Renaissance era. In fact, if I had to rank all the films from the Renaissance era, it would be at the bottom of the list. I know, a lot of people are saying, what, Pocahontas, but the thing with Pocahontas is that it manages to balance the light and the dark. Hunchback seems to mess up its evenness. Like, it tries to be dark, but there's always a little bit of comedy thrown in every 10 minutes or so, and it kind of throws it off. Hunchback is based off the novel by Victor Hugo, and one of the Disney executives brought it to directors Gary Trousdale and Kirk Wise in '93, I believe. Gary and Kirk had just come off of directing Beauty and the Beast, and the executive said, hey, why don't you do Victor Hugo's Hunchback? Gary and Kirk had been trying a different idea, but it wasn't working, so they thought, okay, let's do Hunchback. As usually happens with any animated Disney feature, they actually go to real-life places that the film is going to take place in. In the case of Hunchback, Gary, Kirk, and some of the other filmmakers actually visited the real-life Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris and sketched and studied it to get it right for the film. Hunchback of Notre Dame, like I said, is directed by Gary Trousdale and Kirk Wise, who directed Beauty and the Beast, and produced by Don Hahn, who produced Beauty and the Beast, and also The Lion King. Released in the summer of 1996, The Hunchback of Notre Dame was a box office success, although it made slightly less money than Pocahontas. But it was still a box office success nevertheless, and it got better reviews than Pocahontas did. But again, I feel like it's too dark for an animated Disney feature, and the light comedy messes it up. But I'll explain as we go along. So at the start of the film, Clopin, our gypsy storyteller, voiced by Paul Candle, tells us some backstory about how a couple of gypsies were trying to sneak into Paris, France one night, and Judge Claude Frollo, the Notre Dame church minister, voiced by the late Tony Jay in one of his finest Disney performances, stole what he thought was stolen goods from a woman, but it turned out to be her baby boy, and the woman got killed by Frollo on the stone steps. Frollo originally wanted to kill the baby too, but the church archdeacon, voiced by the director's old friend David Ogden Stiers from Beauty and the Beast, and also Pocahontas, the archdeacon told Frollo he had murdered an innocent woman, and to atone for his guilt, he now has to raise the boy. Years later, this boy, Quasimodo, voiced by Tom Hulse, grows up in Notre Dame Cathedral as the bell ringer. He wants to see the world below, but Frollo warns him if he goes out there, people will revile him as a monster. He goes out anyway to attend the Feast of Fools, and ends up having a good time, especially when he is crowned the King of Fools. But then everybody starts mocking him, and the only one that comes to save him is a gypsy girl named Esmeralda, voiced by Demi Moore, but also by Heidi Mollenhauer when she sings, because apparently Demi Moore can't sing very well. Frollo orders Esmeralda arrested, but she escapes, and later Quasimodo comes to her aid in the cathedral. The film follows as Quasimodo and Esmeralda try to work together to help people see Quasimodo and Esmeralda each other for who they really are. Frollo tries to get rid of all the gypsies, and there's a love triangle going on between Quasimodo, Frollo, and Frollo's new captain of the guard, Phoebus, voiced by Kevin Kline, who all want Esmeralda for different reasons. That's one of the problems with this movie, is there's different people going after the same girl, but for different reasons. While Quasimodo and Phoebus both actually like her, Frollo only wants her so he can kill her, and it kind of screws a lot of stuff up. Frollo easily takes the cake for darkest Disney feature animation villain ever. The hard thing is that he considers himself a man of God, and the bad things he's doing to be God's will. And me as a Christian, I know that what Frollo's doing is wrong, and it seems a bit heavy-handed to be teaching about religion in a Disney animated feature. Hunchback, of course, deals with a lot of dark stuff, like the mistreatment of different people, like Quasimodo and the Gypsies. Again, church religion, and of course there's a lot of dark elements in the action. At one point, Frollo burns an innocent family's house, and Phoebus has to save them. Seriously, religion, lust, and nearly burning an innocent family alive? How did this film get a G rating? I don't get it. Quasimodo, okay, let's talk about the characters. Quasimodo's a pretty good protagonist as far as protagonists go. He's not handsome or anything, he even admits it quite a few times, but he is a nice guy and just wants to be respected for who he is, even if he doesn't look that great. Esmeralda's pretty amazing as far as female protagonists go. She's definitely a step up from the Disney princesses from the olden days, from Walt's lifetime. She's tough, she's street smart, and she speaks out against injustice. Phoebus is pretty weak as far as heroes go, but Kevin Kline does a good job with the vocal performance. Actually, all the vocal performances are pretty good. Tom Hulce, Demi Moore, Kevin Kline, everybody does a good job. Really, my only problem, character-wise, is the three gargoyles. I used to like them, and to an extent, I still do, but it seems like every 10 or 15 minutes, with all the darkness, they pop up to exploit comic relief, and it kind of disrupts the film a bit from the tone it's trying to go for. But I like the vocal performances. Hugo, the loudmouthed goofy one, is voiced by Jason Alexander of Seinfeld fame. Victor, the Shakespearean actor-type one, is voiced by Charles Kimbrough, and Laverne, the sanest of the bunch, and the only girl, is voiced by the late Mary Wicks in her final film role. She actually died before she finished recording all her dialogue, so Jane Weathers had to provide the remaining dialogue for Laverne. The songs in Hunchback were pretty good. The music and songs are done by Alan Menken and Stephen Schwartz, who had just come off their Oscar-winning music for Pocahontas. Half the songs I like, the other half I could do without. The opening song, Bells of Notre Dame, is probably the strongest opening in an animated Disney feature film since Circle of Life from The Lion King. Quasimodo's I Want Son, Out There, very nice. My personal favorite is Topsy Turvy, which is the song that plays in the Feast of Fools scene at the beginning, which of course has Quasimodo getting crowned the King of Fools before things take a turn for the worst. That's my favorite, Topsy Turvy. And then the Gargoyles, even though their comedy relief seems irreverent throughout the film, I do like their song, A Guy Like You. All the other songs, like the Court of Miracles song, and Esmeralda's song, God Help the Outcasts, my sister Jordan likes that one, but I feel like maybe it drags the film down a bit too much, and it's pushing down the religion theme on us with praying to God for help, but whatever. Frollo's song, Hellfire, is most definitely the darkest song I have ever heard in an animated Disney feature film. Again, how did this film get a G rating? So, yeah, Hunchback of Notre Dame is a bit of a mess as far as Disney animated features go. They were trying to go for something different, something darker and more interesting than what they'd done before, which I respect that, but it feels like every time they got it where it needed to go in terms of darkness, they chickened out at the last minute and threw the gargoyles in every 15 minutes or so. Definitely don't watch The Hunchback of Notre Dame with little kids who don't understand religion yet. Christian religion, but maybe teens and young adults. I'd say maybe start watching Hunchback at the age of 10 or 12 or something, if your kids can handle it. But if there's one animated Disney feature you can do without, aside from the really bad ones like The Black Cauldron or the upcoming Home on the Range, I'd say Hunchback is probably one you can skip over, unless you want to go for something different from Disney feature animation. While The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the original film, may not be the best film in the canon, its sequel is even worse. The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 was advertised all the way back in 2000. I think the first time I saw a preview for it was on The Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea. It was originally supposed to come out at the end of the summer of 2001, but it ended up getting pushed back to spring of 2002, which actually helped it coincide with the DVD debut of the first movie. In The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, Quasimodo and his friends are attending a festival of love, and Quasimodo feels left out because he doesn't have a girlfriend. But then the circus comes to town, and Quasimodo falls in love with the trapeze walker, Madeline, voiced by Jennifer Love Hewitt. The problem is, the circus is actually a group of thieves who use their shows as a cover to steal everyone's money, and the owner, Sarouche, voiced by Michael McKean, wants to steal Notre Dame's most famous bell, La Fidèle, with colorful jewels inside. Madeline is asked to woo Quasimodo as a distraction so La Fidèle can be stolen, but it gets complicated when they fall in love with each other. There's also, spoiler alert, Esmeralda and Phoebus become sweethearts at the end of the first movie, and in the sequel they have a son, Zephyr, voiced by up-and-coming child star Haley Joel Osment. He's kind of weak as far as little kids go, but he's not bad. The only good thing for me about Hunchback 2 is most of the voice cast comes back, including Tom Hulce, Paul Candle, Demi Moore, Kevin Kline, Jason Alexander, and Charles Kimbrough. Laverne is voiced by her replacement voice actress, Jane Weathers, since Mary Wickes passed away. Other than that, Hunchback 2 is easily, in my opinion, the worst animated Disney feature direct-to-video sequel ever. The story is pretty weak. I didn't really understand it. The animation looks terrible, and the songs are even worse. Except for Jennifer Love Hewitt's song, I'm Gonna Always Love You, but that's saved for the end credits, so it's sort of a lost cause. Yeah, definitely don't watch Hunchback 2. Original's fine, sequel, Hunchback's latest home video release was its 2-movie collection Blu-ray release with its sequel in spring of 2013. Bonus features include audio commentary, a 28-minute behind-the-scenes look at the making of the film, and a multi-language reel of the Gargoyles' song, A Guy Like You, which means you get to hear the song sung in different languages. Hunchback 2's bonus features are behind-the-scenes with Jennifer Love Hewitt, and a feature where Jason Alexander narrates a poem about gargoyles. Okay. Plus, the Blu-ray is also a combo pad that includes DVD copies of both movies. It's the original 2002 DVD copies, with the previews staying the same. It's new at the time previews on the Blu-ray, but the 2002 DVDs are the same, including the same bonus features as the Blu-rays, along with ones that aren't on the Blu-rays, which are games, and on the original film you get the sing-along song version of Topsy Turvy from the Hunchback of Notre Dame sing-along video. One of my favorite Disney sing-alongs, by the way. So, that's my thoughts on Hunchback of Notre Dame. I think it's the worst animated Disney feature film from the Renaissance era. I know some will disagree, but honestly, unless you have kids that can handle the religious stuff and the dark stuff, again, Frollo's definitely the darkest Disney feature animation villain I've ever seen. Unless your kids can handle all that, I can't recommend Hunchback of Notre Dame. Definitely skip this one over if you have really little kids. And even if you do choose to watch it when you get older, trust me, you're in for a bit of a shock with the dark elements. Luckily, we've got some lighthearted animated Disney feature films coming up next week. Until then, remember, when you wish upon a star, your dreams come true.